and then we did some evaluations and then analysis, and then we tried to uh, give out the results in terms of the design principles, in terms of the maintenance issues. So that's why I have some little experience in the pavement management systems, although this area is quite wide enough, and it's a lot being focused from the government side. uh, Especially, I don't know if you remember, almost 1 year back, there was a notice from the Prime Minister's office to the Ministry of Road Transport and the NHAI, and that was an open public notice. It was not only a notice which is just coming from the offices to offices, that rather than constructing more and more roads, you should now try to manage the assets whatever you are creating. Okay, so the management of the asset is most important thing, and there where the pavement management system lies. Okay, and yesterday we were there in the ministry. We had some MOU with the ministry, and then the Minister of State was also available, the General VK Singh ji, and then he was also emphasizing on the same thing, that creating a number of roads like per day 30, 32 kilometers of the road construction, they are achieving. It's all good, means nothing bad in that. But the problem is the kind of the deterioration which we are having, and then we do not have any kind of a good scientific maintenance strategy for all these issues are again the big challenge for us. And the one more, the biggest reason behind this is the data. Okay, so the compilation of a data, the data management, the database management. So that is again one more issue with the pavement management system. So that's why this subject becomes very important. There were few legendaries who have done a lot of work in this PMS. Obviously, the work started from the US and the Canada. Professor Ralph was there, Professor Hudson was there, Professor Shaheen was there. Okay, so these all were the legends who started this topic, who really worked on this topic. They have their iconic books in this area for which we have read, and we are still following those kind of the book. And still in our country, there are few good legends who are working in this area. Maybe Professor Veera Raghavan is there. Okay, maybe Professor K.S. Reddy. All these are the some good learned experts who are the pioneer in this direction. I am still learning from them, and I'm still learning from the field, and probably from many of my students also. Okay, so let me start. Obviously, it's a big presentation. I try to cover few topics. Let me see that how much I can cover and how much I can deliver.
Hmm?
Yeah,
Saurabh.
yeah. And even if you want to ask question, you can unmute and ask. But if you are not, means you don't want to ask or you want to talk, then please mute your mic, and then it will be easy for the others. Okay. But the discussions are welcome even in between. I don't mind those things. So this is again a big challenge, that let me see what I can cover and how much I can convey, because that is a big challenge, especially in this online mode. We'll try to see that what is the meaning of pavement management and the pavement management systems. Okay, then what are the subsystems of the PMS? What is the meaning of a network in a project level PMS? And then what are the evaluation? There are a lot many evaluation techniques. We'll not go in the more details of the evaluation techniques. Probably next lecture is one evaluation technique. We'll be going in more detail regarding IRC 115, the falling weight deflectometer. Then the performance and the economic analysis, because it is all dependent upon the economy. Okay, management is all dependent upon the economy. Okay, which road to be maintained, which kind of the maintenance strategy to be adopted, it's all about economy. Okay, and then about the database and the data management, where we will be discussing one major software in which is we are quite uh, extensively using in India, but it is not only one software. So I'm not advocating the software, but although because I have little experience on that software, I have worked on that. So that's why I have included, but it's nothing like advocating any kind of a software. Even I can tell you some other softwares like DTI and DTIMS are there, except SDM4, which I'll be discussing. Okay. Now, the importance of the PMS, we all know that our road systems are deficient to meet the traffic demand. Even like whatever we are predicting for 15 years and 20 years traffic, we are estimating the traffic and then we are designing our routes. But probably whatever the 6%, 7% traffic estimation you are doing, not sure that whether it will be really applicable for the next 15 or 20 years. And we all know that the kind of the traffic increases just after connection of a link or a construction of a road is multifold. Okay. And then there are again issues with our load limits also. Okay, the legal load limits, the vehicles are not following the kind of the construction quality, even sometimes of the kind of the construction material quality also, the environmental conditions, and there are a lot of factors which is there for the deterioration causes. So somehow our road systems are deficient in all these respects. Okay. And sometimes it is yet to be said that improper planning is again done. Okay, because we do not have any, sometimes we do not go for the scientific basis, even we still go for some kind of the recommendation basis, political basis. Okay, all these kind of the policies is still being adopted rather than having any proper planning. And even that road geometries, still road geometries is a part. That's why the auditing has been given a lot of focus nowadays, the road safety audits you all must be knowing. And so road geometries are still not very good as per the speeds whatever it is to be traveling. Okay, sometimes the land acquisition is there, sometimes the line of sight problem is there. Okay, so there are many practical problems which are there in our road geometries. Poor construction and the maintenance practices, even it is not means the thing to be hide. Okay, we are still lacking in this area. Okay, so that's why we need for a proper planning and the management of the resources. Planning means when to do, what to do. Okay, and then from where the resources will come. Like if after 3 years my road get deteriorated, from where the funds will come, because there is a limited allocation of the funds for the different purposes. Like for the road construction, obviously the maximum fund is allocation is there. For the rehabilitation purpose, for the maintenance purpose, the funds are very limited. Okay, so within that limited fund, what to do, how to do. Okay, like I can give you a small example recently. And believe me, whatever the examples I'm giving, it is nothing like any comment on any system or policy or any government. It is obviously they are also constrained with the kind of the budgets. So like even in UP we had a Gadda Mukti Road Abhiyan, something like the pothole free roads. Okay, and for that the allocation for per kilometer of road is 10,000 rupees. So that was the allocation from the state level. Obviously it doesn't mean that every kilometer is having a pothole. So maybe like if 2 kilometers is having one pothole, then it becomes 20,000 for that pothole. But if in a kilometer you are having like 5 potholes, then it is only 2,000 rupees per pothole. Okay, so that is the kind of the budgets normally we are having for the maintenances. Okay, so within that constraint resources, how to go, how to do our job in a best possible way, that is something related with the PMS. So without going in the details of the PMS, let us see one interesting story which has been cited in many of the books of the Hudson also, the Hatfield and the McCoy story. Okay, so these are the two townships, but like see the destiny, how the different destinies has been there. Okay, so there are two townships named as Hatfield and McCoy. Okay, so they are having some different road agency groups. Okay, now they started making some kind of the road construction in their townships. Okay, so they are engineering agencies, something like a PWD. Okay, so they are creating some roads in their areas. Okay, they all know about this chart, and probably we all know about this chart, that there is something called a pavement deterioration chart, that initially the conditions are very good, and as soon as the time increases the condition deteriorates. Okay, we all know about this curve. Probably we all have seen or we all understand about this curve also, that now this curve, what the shape will be there exactly, somewhere it will be very exponential, somewhere it will be a constant kind of a line, and then again sudden drop is there. So that can take a different shape. Okay, we are not going right now exactly on the modeling of this particular curve, but this is how the approximate shape will be there for the pavement life. Okay, now after 10 to 15 years they have reached to this position, the both the roads means they have constructed at the same time. Now they have reached to this point. Okay, Now, after reaching this point, one of the counties or one of the states, that is the Hatfield, they think about the rehabilitation plans. Okay. So then what they did is that they know that they have a total 15 kilometers, 15 miles of the road length. Okay. So they thought like, let us have a cycle of every 5 years, in which every 3 miles they will do every year. Okay. The rehabilitation work. Okay, and for the rest of the 12 miles in a year, they will do the preventive maintenance. So what is they I mean to say is, like, for after 15 years, the 16th year they will do the 3 mile rehabilitation. When I say rehabilitation, the major kind of the rehabilitation funds. Okay, and the rest 12 miles they will do some preventive. Yeah. Okay.
May I request the participants to, yeah, host, I request you to please mute all.
Yeah.
Sorry for the disturbance, sir.
No, no, no. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So the rest 12 miles, they will do the preventive maintenance. Okay. So that is how they have maintained, they have created the strategy. Like after the 15th year, the 16th year, the first 3 miles for the major rehabilitation and the rest 12 miles for the preventive maintenance. Okay. So this is how they started doing their agencies, that 3 miles per year for 5 years, and the required good maintenance for the rest 12 miles. Okay, and they could understand that this thing, that probably if we invest something like 1 rupees or $1 at this time for the restoration, we will get the results rather than spending 4 to 5 times of the money at the end of the life. Okay, so they could understand this thing. At the same time, the second county, the McCoy County, so they deferred rehabilitation. Okay, they told that we do not have to do any kind of a rehabilitation, we do not have funds, and we want to save the money for construction of new roads or something for other reasons. Okay, we will only go for the urgent maintenance. Urgent maintenance, something like just patching the potholes, okay, or whatever some basic or significant kind of the defects are there. Only we'll go for that thing, and rest of the road section, if some cracks are there, let it be. Okay, no problem. So they have deferred the rehabilitation, and then they discuss that we have to save our money now, because that is the most important part. And probably it looks good also at that moment of a time, that you are saving a lot of money. Okay, that's how the work started. Like for every 3 miles for the Hatfield County, they started their rehabilitation process, and for the next 12 miles, they only do some kind of a preventive maintenance. All these things they have started for this Hatfield. Okay, so at the end of a 1 year summary, they could find out, like for example, they have to spend like $42,000 per mile, and every 3 mile they are doing in a 1 year, so something like $126,000 of the miles, plus for the 12 miles, the preventive maintenance cost only like $5,000 per mile. Okay, so the total cost was approximately 186 or $185,000. Okay, so that is the total cost which they have incurred. Okay, obviously this cost is a very high. Okay, so initially, if you go with this solution to any road agencies, they'll not appreciate you. Okay, but what happens with the other county when they compare this thing, because they are doing only some urgent kind of the maintenance, probably like 3,000 miles for the 15 kilometers, they are only getting like 145,000. Okay, so they are all happy because they have spent less and they have more money in their hands. Okay, for probably some new construction and the other reasons. Okay, but like what happened now, because the roads have gone for only preventive maintenance, the kind of the deterioration which had in the another county, the McCoy County, was significant. Okay, was significant. And then what they could find out, like initially the Hatfield County, that 186,000 was their first year, so for the next 5 years it was coming something $1.1 million. Okay, so this was for the next 10 years summary. Okay, but when the other county, they could find out that initially first year there was only 145,000, but for the next 5 years, because there was a major deterioration, they have to go for a major rehabilitation plans, which cost something like $168,000 per mile, and then they have to go for all 15 miles altogether. So something like 2.52 million, and if you add the initial 5 years, then it will be 1.45. So approximately $2.56 million. Whereas in the other case, it was close to $1.1 million. It is just a simple example to understand whether to save the money right now or to spend the money, a big amount of money at a later stage. And when this is the only money which you are spending from your pocket. There is one more thing which is known as vehicle user cost, vehicle operating cost. User cost means what you are paying. Probably, uh, if the speeds are slow, then you will be spending more fuel on it. Okay, more fuel, it means the average of your vehicle is less, the mileages of your vehicle is less, so you are spending more money on your fuel. Your vehicle is also getting deteriorating with the time because the roads are not good, so you are spending lot much money on your maintenance of the vehicles also. So again, the road user cost and the road vehicle operating cost, that is also increasing, which is not been included in this cost. Okay, so this is what the summary is, that the county who started with the initial kind of the preventive maintenance and the rehabilitation strategies, they could save the things, or they could complete the things within $1.1 million, and even with the increase in the life of that pavements also. And whereas the other county has spent almost like more than double, and the rest is the story. Okay, so that's why they also started going for a rehabilitation plan. The most important point, the whole engineering lies at which point what to do. Okay, so this is what the basic crux of the PMS, and which obviously no one can tell in a one lecture, that at what point what to do. There are so many factors which are involved. You need so much engineering also, you need so much experience also, you need so much of data also. So this is a curve, we all know. At what point what to do, it is totally all about engineering, particular field related thing, depending what amount of the money you are having. Okay, what are your constraints in that money. Okay, so that is totally means, it is very difficult to tell everything within a lecture. Okay, even the experienced persons do such kind of the mistakes, or they are not able to take such kind of a decisions. But let us appreciate the importance of this PMS. Okay, so this is how the importance of the PMS has been. I just started with the one kind of a small story, which probably has given you some kind of an understanding. Okay, now everything related to pavement, because the PMS or PM is the first word is the pavement thing. Okay, so the pavement is an engineering, we all know, and probably within this whole FDP, we all been learning about the various things about the pavement thing. Okay, maybe the materials we already you have seen in the first lecture, introduction to various pavement materials, their classification, their quality assurance testings are there, maybe some IS codes are there, even the IRC codes are there. Then the designing of the material, maybe the mixes designing, okay, the hot mix or the cold mix design, the warm mix design. Then going for the pavement design, maybe as per the IRC 37 or 58, whether it's a flexible pavement or a rigid pavement. Then designing of the structural layers, maybe with the help of the IRC 115, that is the falling weight deflectometer, or maybe with the old IRC 81, that is the Benkelman beam method. Okay, so design of the structural layers for the new pavements, for the rehabilitation. Then finding out the in situ material properties, normally with the destructive testing, or with the help of the nowadays non-destructive testings also, like GPR, layer thicknesses, everything could be find out. The pavement construction is again a very good, very challenging topic. Okay, nowadays lot of new techniques are coming. Okay, warm in place, cold in place, the wrap is being used. Okay, the different kind of the pavers are there, in the different kind of the rollers are there. Okay, it is very exciting area to learn about the new pavement construction techniques also. Okay, so construction practices of the new kind of the pavements, like how to lay a hot bituminous pavement, like what are the conditions and what are the things to be known, and the same thing for the wrap, same thing for the warm mix, same thing for the cold mix. Okay, so how to lay all these kind of the different road sections. Okay, pavement rehabilitation, including specification development and the quality assurance. Okay, Our main focus will be today majorly with the management, like monitoring the post construction, because we are talking about the post construction things. Okay, the conditions, the timing, the preventive maintenance, and the rehabilitation treatments, and then finally economic analysis. Okay, because we can have various alternatives. We can go from a small routine maintenance to a preventive maintenance to a rehabilitation or to a reconstruction. Okay, these are the four options which we are having. Depending upon the economy, we can decide upon the alternatives. Okay, and then the pavement research, ultimately we have to inculcate all these things into one thing, and the research should lead to the improvement of our system, the pavement systems, where you started from the material design, construction, and the management and their performance also. Okay, this is what the pavement management has been defined in the various literatures. Okay, so pavement management is a program for improving the quality and performance of the pavements. Okay, when you started work, the quality is important. The quality, like a functional quality, your like a structural quality, and finally, it should perform good. Okay, performance are basically more oriented toward the user things. Okay, the functional performances of the pavements, and minimizing the cost through good management practices. When I say cost, it is the maintenance cost. It is again the road user cost and even the vehicle operating cost also. Similarly, when we define the pavement management system, so it's a set of a defined procedures for collecting. So here the main thing comes, the data. Okay, the collection of a data. When you are having a data, obviously you need to analyze the data. Analysis of a data is again the challenging area. Okay, because the kind of the network we are having, the big road network, the second largest road network, we always say, then the amount of the data and to how to deal with with that data. So big data techniques or all the other kind of the new kind of the soft techniques we are having, you need to utilize all these things. Maintaining and reporting of the payment data to assist the decision makers in finding optimum strategies. Now, how you are maintaining and reporting the data, this again becomes very important. Okay, like you are having some data, either you are giving them as a raw data or you are giving them as a life cycle overview, like what we did. Like initially, if you will just give the initial data, sir, if you just spend on the preventive maintenance, we will be spending only few thousand of rupees or few lakhs of rupees. But if you will do all this rehabilitation, we have to invest something like lakhs of crores of rupees. Okay, and if you'll give a life cycle overview, sir, if we spend like this much amount of the money, but our life will increases something like twofold or threefold, and maybe in the next few years we have to spend only less amount of data, so total life cycle cost is very less if we spend more. Okay, so this is how you are presenting the data to the decision makers, because decision makers does not have that much of idea about the engineering behind the pavements. Okay, so that they can find out the optimum strategies for maintaining the pavements in a serviceable condition over a given period of a time for the least cost. Okay, that is the optimized cost. Okay, so this is all about pavement management and the management systems. Okay, PMS obviously is designed to provide objective information and useful data for analysis. Okay, so it's a total kind of a system, okay, or network kind of a system in which you give the information, okay, and it will give you some useful data for your analysis, okay, or it will give you some useful alternatives for your maintenance kind of thing, so that the road managers can make more consistent, cost effective, and defensible decisions. When I say defensible, they should be able to defend their decisions, that why they have taken a decision. I told you that there are various kind of decisions can be taken for the maintenance, maybe a routine maintenance, preventive kind of a maintenance, a rehabilitation, major rehabilitation, or a reconstruction. How you will defend that what this decision you have taken. Okay, so that is related to the preservation of a pavement network. You should be able to defend that data, that results, whatever you are presenting. Okay, but finally, out of any PMS, it will give you alternatives. It will not tell you that which is the alternative is the best one for you. Okay, so it can always give you alternative, the best one you have to choose out of from your knowledge, from your mindset, okay, from your experience. Okay, So a PMS does not make decisions. It is ultimately the managers, probably I'll rather say the engineers, they do the decision making process. Okay. Because when the engineers reaches to the high level or to the top level, they become managers. Okay. So that is how the managers, they make the decisions. These are the two different levels of the payment management systems. We rather talk in terms of the network level, or we rather talk in terms of the project levels. Okay. So not network level, something like a macroscopic or a microscopic view. Okay. So macroscopic is the network level. So like it's the bird's eye view of a network payment as a whole, like probably a whole state network, probably a whole district network, or probably a whole national network of the network of the highways or the network of the roads, maybe the PMGSY, maybe the national highways, okay, maybe the border roads, okay, all these kind of a one network, something like this. Okay. So in this, we do a nationwide or a statewide condition survey. We do the budget estimation, then we do the performance predictions of our roads, then we do the budget allocations accordingly, and then we make a priority chart that what kind of the strategies to be adopted for the each kind of the highways. Okay. Similarly, we do it for a microscopic level. Okay. Initially, only for a single project, maybe for a single highway, maybe for a single state highway, maybe for a single urban roads. Okay. So that is what we are doing for the project level. So in this, we assist the designers in constructing, maintaining, or rehabilitating a section of a roadway, because we are more focused towards only one project. Okay. So in which we are more giving a more detailed idea about the preventive maintenance, like what maintenance to be done, like if you have to do a overlaying, then the 10 mm PMC you have to do, or 20 mm PMC you have to do. Okay. Either you have to go for a resurfacing, or you have to go for a reconstruction, then what should be the layers of the reconstruction. Okay. How to get these layers, whether you have to go for a structure evaluation survey or not required. Okay. And then what are the treatment options along the project if you are not going for the reconstruction? So maybe some kind of a pothole repairing kind of techniques, patching repairing techniques, the crack sealings, all these things can be dealt at an individual project level or on a microscopic level. So this is the basic difference between the PMS for the network level and for the project level. Obviously, when you say data, a lot of data is required. Okay, the inventory data, I'll talk about the inventory data, the conditions evaluations we have to do for the pavement, the structural evaluation, the functional evaluation. I'll be again discussing the structural and the functional evaluation. The history is very important, and that is something which we are struggling to find out. Okay. Our database sometimes does not have a very good history. Okay. So we do not get the previous history of a road, when the maintenance was done, what kind of the maintenance was done, what were the locations at the maintenance were done. Okay. What was the investment on the maintenance which was done. So that history is very important for our pavement management systems. Okay. So history of the initial investment, or the preventive maintenance, or the rehabilitation maintenance, or the rehabilitation, or the reconstruction, all this historical data is very, very important. And if you are not having that historical data, it will not give you a good analysis. Okay. Similarly, traffic data and the cost data, like cost data, some other kind of the cost, like road user cost, vehicle operating cost. So that is also very important, because that will help you to get out a life cycle overview. Okay. Similarly, the modeling and the analysis part, now after having a lot of data, then you can do some kind of a ratings. So probably you have heard about the present serviceability rating, the pavement service index, okay, PSI, PSR. So these are the different kind of the ratings are there, on which we are able to take our decisions for the different alternatives. Okay. And then we do some performance prediction modelings also, maybe some road deterioration modelings, okay, in which we measure, or in which we try to predict the deteriorations with respect to the various parameters, like age is one of the parameters, the subgrade strength is one of the parameters, the rutting is one of the parameters. Okay. The fatigue life is one of the parameters. So normally we try to model the
Hello. sir, your voice is not clear.
I had a reconnection probably.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. At what slide did I left? I didn't know. Am I
Yes, sir. Yes.
okay? Have I completed this modeling analysis part?
Any participants can say it was completed or not?
Oh, no problem. Let me start again then from the modeling
No, sir.
analysis.
It remains.
Yeah, so basically, I was just talking about when you are having a lot of data, then there are few ratings procedures we are having, that the PSR, PSI ratings are there. Okay, so that rating normally helps us to find out the alternatives. Then we do the performance predictions in terms of the modeling. Okay, the modeling of the deteriorations, maybe the rutting, maybe the your roughness, etc. Okay, and then finally having those predictions in our hand, then we try to do the economic analysis, that in which alternative we will optimize our pavement performance in terms of the life, also in terms of the life cycle cost also. Okay, and when you are having lot of this data, so you need to manage this data, you need to filter out this data, you need to clean out this data, you need to remove the outliers. Okay, you need to sort out the data, and then what are the data which is correlating with each other, that is the relational databases, and then finally the report generation out of all these things. So this is all the subsystems of the PMS. I told you about the data types. Inventory data is there, payment condition data is there, traffic loading data is there, cost related to construction, that is the historical data, and then the present data, construction cost, what is the present construction cost, preventive maintenance, remedial maintenance, rehabilitation, and the reconstruction, and what was the same thing previously, historical, that what is being done on that particular road section. Inventory data includes your route number, whatever the national highways number you are having, or state highways number you are having. The route type, which type of the road is there. Functional class, whether it's a major road, minor road, arterial road, urban roads, etc. The length of the road, the divided or the undivided route sections, the kind of the pavement, it's a flexible pavement or it's a rigid pavement, composite kind of a pavement, or a flexible pavement with some warm mix, or the flexible pavement with some kind of a plastic. Okay, nowadays we have to do all the performance evaluation for the new techniques of the roads also. The number of the lanes and the width, shoulder type and width, the state or the district, etc. Okay. The condition evaluation, majorly there are two type of evaluation. One is the functional evaluation, which directly has an effect on the road user, and the structural evaluation, which has a directly relation with the structural capacity of the road section. Okay. So roughness or ride quality is related with the functional evaluation. Similarly, most of the surface distresses are again related with the pavement functional evaluation. Okay, rutting normally related with the structural adequacy. Okay, skid resistance. Now this is the third type of the evaluation which has a safety issues. Okay, so now in terms of the road safety, the skid resistance becomes very important. And finally, the structural capacity. So nowadays we are using the falling weight deflectometer. We need to do the annual condition surveys. Okay, ride quality, surface distresses, rutting, friction. Okay, so evaluating the current condition of the of your pavement surfaces, finding out the rate of deterioration. That is how the prediction models are being used. Okay, we developed many prediction models. The prediction models could be as simple as possible, like linear. It could be a multilinear. It could be a non-linear. Prediction models could also uh, be made. Okay, the more difficult the model is, normally the accuracies are high, but the complexities of the model increases. The simple the model is, normally the accuracy is low, but the usability of the models are high. Okay, Now, with the help of these deteriorations, we can project the future conditions to determine like what are the current or the future maintenance and the rehabilitation needs, like what to be done now and what to be done later on. Okay. And similarly, we can find out the future cost of the repairs also. So these are various survey equipments. We all know profilers are there, roughness profilers are there, distresses, and these kind of the network survey vehicles can find everything. Maybe the roughness, distresses, rutting, noise, pavement cracking. Okay, even pavement friction trailers are there. Okay, which is there as per the ASTM codes. Falling weight deflectometers, which find out the structural capacity. The GPRs are there, which can find out the layer thickness, the present layer thickness. Okay, all these things are the kind of the equipments which are available, and there are low cost to the high cost equipments are available. But still, if you'll go in the market, you will see that most of the equipments are very high cost. Okay. Now, condition evaluation, the major parameter is the road roughness, okay, which is having a major cost, road user cost, uh, um, mm, road user cost contribution also. Okay. Roughness, we all know that it means the irregularities in the pavement surface, which is affecting the user's comfort and sometimes the safety also. Okay. Although comfort is a major thing, but sometimes the roughness is very high, then it becomes a safety issue. Okay. And this is due to two reasons. One is due to the variations in the horizontal and the vertical and in the transverse profiles also. Okay. So do you know that what we call the IRI? It is due to longitudinal profile or it is due to lateral profile? Anyone can tell me? Probably, okay. The participants are muted. Okay. So normally, due to the variations in the horizontal, vertical, and the transverse profile, the different kind of the roughnesses are being used. Okay. Normally, it's a user's perception for the pavement roughnesses are there. And these roughnesses are normally measured in terms of a unit of International Roughness Index, IRI. And probably you must have heard few equipments, a low cost equipment like Merlin is there, or in the earlier time we used to do with the bump integrator. Still we are using bump integrator, the fifth wheel bump integrator, the BI is there. Okay. Nowadays some network survey vehicles are there which can find out these things very easily. Okay. So this is about the roughness thing. Then comes with the surface distresses. Okay. Now the surface distresses like the cracking, patching, rutting, which is there on the surface. Okay. Then the severity, finding out the crack width. Okay. To measure the crack width, normally we use the thread method, or even we use for finding out the length of a crack, we again use the thread method. We just put the thread on the crack and then we find out the length of the crack, because the cracks are not linear in nature. So we have to keep the thread in such a way so that our cracks are being totally being covered with the thread. Okay. Then we do the condition assessment that whether these cracking are at the initial level or the cracking like 0 to means 1 to 3 mm, 3 to 5 mm, 5 more than 5 mm. So these are the different levels which has been adopted in the different literatures. Okay, but these are the different standards which they have adopted. It doesn't mean that we have to adopt the same standards. If you are convinced about your own standards, you can have your own standards also, because ultimately thing is the economy. Okay, like why sometimes call the rutting failure as after 20 after 20 there is a, we call the failure as in rutting. The 20 mm is there, then the rutting is there, the failure in the rutting is there. There is no any standard which can say that 20 is the rutting threshold failure. Okay, it could be 15 also, but if it is 15 for the whole country, then we have to see that as soon as the rutting reaches to 15 mm, we have to start go for a probably a major rehabilitation or a reconstruction. So that much amount of the money is required. If we again reduce this 20 to 25, then again probably we can save the money. But although we will be spending more on the vehicle operating cost and the road user cost. Okay. Similarly, data collection techniques, some nowadays continuous data collection techniques can be done by using the network survey vehicles. Okay. This is all about the surface distresses. Normally, when you are start finding out the surface distresses, the most important part is the wheel path. Okay, so that is what we have to look for. Okay, especially the wheel path on the both sides of the edges. Okay, so that 2.5 feet is the wheel path, and that has to be basically looked out for the distresses. So even if you see the major portion of the rutting will normally here. Okay, even if you want to find out the roughness, we will finding out the roughness in these areas. Okay, and which is some distance away from the shoulders. Okay, so this is what we have to do for evaluating distresses. Similarly, some kind of distresses which are majorly visible in the bituminous pavements. I'll not go in the details of these distresses. I'll just name them, and I'll just go on again in the more detailed part of the PMS after this. Okay, so it is just I'm giving you some pinch of highlight of the these kind of the distresses. For the bituminous pavements and for the rigid pavements, like crackings are there. You have all heard about the alligator cracking, the longitudinal transfers, multiple cracking, rutting deformations, okay, rutting along the wheel path. There are some miscellaneous kind of the things like shoulder conditions, patch conditions, and all these things have to be observed on the other lanes. Like if there's a 2-lane, 4-lane highways are there, then you have to see on the other sides also. Okay, similarly, this is how you need to find out the rut depth. Okay, so rutting is basically the average from the both the wheel path side. Okay, in case if the surface, if the midpoint is also being lowered from the its original position, then it has to be deducted. So normally what we do is we take a straight road, a straight edge, and we just put it along the road path, and then we'll measure this thing with the help of the vernier calipers. Okay, and then we'll take the average and we'll get the value of the rutting, because normally if you put the straight bar, it will touch this point, so this D1 becomes 0. Okay, so this is how we basically measure the rutting. For the concrete pavements, again, some kind of the defects are the crackings. Okay, so there are joint defects are the major one for the concrete pavements, like a seal damage, joint condition damage, curlings are there, sand pumping is there, and the patch conditions are again a problem in the concrete pavements. Okay, the another type is the skid, which is probably not being considered very much in our condition till now. Okay, we are emphasizing a lot on the road safety, but probably this is again one area where we need to consider the road safety in terms of the skid resistance. Okay, so again, there is a lot of research going on in this area. The people are working towards a more tire pavement interaction area. Okay, more working with the finite element models, more working with the macro texture or the micro texture of the surfaces, the macro texture, micro texture of the row of the tires. Also, they are working how these tire and pavements are interacting with each other, and then what is the effect which is being generated due to the skidding or the slipping of the tire on the surfaces. Okay, so the assessment of the coefficient of the friction is major part to find to analyze this thing, and depending upon the pavement surface, and again depending upon the speed, because it is dependent upon the speed. So the coefficient of friction is highly dependent upon the speed. Okay, there are again lot of equipments are there. Continuous equipments as per the ASTM E2704, that is the lock wheel skid trailer is there. Again, this is a costly equipment. Okay, most of the labs we are having the British pendulum, but that will only give you the static value of the coefficient of friction. Okay, that is of not very much help, especially if you want to go for the high speed routes. The structural load capacity, that is the that is the structural capacity evaluation. Normally, we try to find out, or we try to assess the load carrying capacity of our carriageway structure, that is the pavement structure. Okay, we can do again by the destructive methods. We take the core of our mixes sample. Okay, we do the borings. Okay, we do the lab test of the corings. Okay, like what is the height of the core, what is the density of the core, what is the material composition. Even we try to find out the modulus values of those cores also. For the non-destructive techniques, again nowadays falling weight deflectometer is there, which is again been discussed in the next class, next lectures. The concrete joint load transfer efficiency for the rigid pavements, the ground penetrating radar is there to find out the thicknesses. We don't have to go for the coring for find out the thicknesses. Okay. Now again, let us coming back to the PMS. Okay, because we have gone to the evaluation side, but we do not want to go more on the evaluation. Our main motive is to back on the PMS. Okay. So again, what our general methodology, which we were discussing earlier, is find out the deficiencies of our roads. Okay, maybe arterial, subarterial, major roads, minor roads, anything. Find out the condition and the causes for the poor road condition. What could be your the possible conditions? Okay, all these things to be noted down. Work out the pavement maintenance management strategies considering the life cycle cost. Now this is something to be worked out. Okay, although it needs lot of data, we will first cover everything and then we'll able to at least understand this line, because at this point of time it is difficult to understand this line, that what is the meaning of the life cycle cost. And then finally, plan and develop a maintenance management system. Even the life cycle cost we have briefly understood in that story of the Hetfield and the McCoy, where we have compared the last slide that was 1.1 million and 2.6 million. So that was a comparative analysis of the life cycle cost, but I would rather say it was not the proper life cycle cost, because it does not included the road user cost and the vehicle operating cost in the $2.6 million. If that was included, then probably that 2.6 has been raised to something like $3 or $4 million. Okay. Now the phase one is classify the roads based on the functional hierarchy. Obviously, our hierarchy says that something like expressways are at a highest hierarchy, then the national highways comes, then again comes the state highways, then comes your urban roads, and in the urban roads, the major arterials, then the minor arterials, then the sub arterials are there. So this is the kind of the hierarchy we are having. We are having again one more kind of a road like border roads, which are of strategic importance. Okay, so probably their hierarchy is the highest one. Okay, then we find out the structural and the functional deficiencies as per the survey, which we have already seen the evaluation. Then we try to assess the maintenance needs. Okay, then the analysis of the first structural and the functional evaluation, determination of the deficiencies, work out the least cost solutions considering different alternatives. Now alternatives you have to find out, or you can evaluate this with the help of the softwares also, and then find out the cost, that which is having what kind of the cost. But don't go only for the cost. Obviously you will get the minimum cost for the routine maintenance or for the preventive maintenance. Okay, but that cost will be uh, basically how long that cost will improve your pavement. Okay, what is the increase in the life of the pavement after incurring that cost? So that needs to be done with the economic analysis. Okay, then you have to finally consider the proposal for how to execute the things, quality control issues, then preparation of the database for the PMMS. Now for the next phase, you have to prepare all this database, like what kind of alternatives you have applied. Okay, what was the quality control, what was the initial data of the roughness, initial data of the rutting. After doing all these alternatives, the roughness has increased to this level, the rutting has reduced to this level. All these databases you have to maintain, and then finally do the implementation and the monitoring for the next round of the PMS. Okay, because PMS will not end at any time. Okay. Now the database include your structural condition data, like your deflection data, like your rutting data, riding quality data, IRI data, unevenness is there, rating data, the PSR or the PSI rating or the PCI rating. Okay, drainage requirements, if it is there, if it is not there. Okay, the traffic data, the present traffic, the previous traffic. Okay, the footpath and the other requirements, if it is there. Probably till now we are only focusing on the pavement management systems only for the pavement part. When you say the infrastructure management systems, then probably the footpath, the bridges, everything will comes in the picture. So we are only focusing towards the pavement parts in this lecture only. Okay. Now the approach is to identify the road stretches which are structurally deficient. Okay, where we require the first is strengthening. Okay, so these now you have to make an hierarchy that which roads require the most attention. Okay, so those which are structurally deficient, obviously that will deteriorate at a very fast rate. Okay, so that is something where we need to have the strengthening. Okay, and strengthening means the structural strengthening. Okay, strengthening ka matlab is the strengthening means always the structural strengthening. Okay, it does not mean the rehabilitation in which we are rehabilitating without increasing any structural life. Okay, then we have to identify the road stretches having the poor surface conditions and classify the sections based on the structural adequacy, like which of the conditions, which of the stretches are structurally inadequate, which of the structure are structurally adequate, but the functional problem is there. Okay, and the road pavement stretches with the localized failures. Then the stretches with the deficiencies with drainage requirements are there, stretches with the large scale damages due to road cuttings, stretches requiring improvement in the footpath, or it could be a combination of the above thing. This is all included in your database. Okay, now we'll go for the service life of the overlay. Like if you want to go for an overlay, then what will be its service life? Okay, so the structural condition of the existing pavement you need to find out. Okay, that could be find out using your falling weight deflectometer, even your Benkelman beam method. Okay, then you decide the design of an, you do the design of an overlay. Okay, then you, again after having the design of a overlay, you can find out the future life of your pavement also. Okay, then the road maintenance policy and the practice needs to be done. Again, the drainage issues, the traffic issues, and the climate and the environmental factors issues need to undertake in the service life of the overlay. So when you do the overlay design, these all things comes in the picture. Okay, you'll see all these factors when you'll be having the next lecture. Now there are different stages of the improvement. Okay, first, shift the existing service lines under the carriageway. If there are any service lines are there, probably some telephone lines, electric lines are there. Okay, provide the service ducts, make profile correction, strengthen the structurally inadequate pavements, resurface the functionally inadequate pavements, rise the level of the footpath and the drain. So this is the very first stage level of the improvement, so that none of your essential services get disrupted while you are doing these kind of the maintenance. Okay, then the strengthening and the resurfacing you have to do. So your priority first one is the that one which is structurally deteriorated. Okay, the weak pavements with high deflection, high evenness, so that comes under your priority one. Now what becomes weak and what becomes high, it again depends on the engineer's uh, description. Okay, what you call high and what you call weak, it is very difficult to decide here. And that is probably one of the reasons that none of the Indian codes is talking about pavement management systems. Okay, in terms of the standards. Okay, because the standards becomes variable depending upon the budgeting. Okay, then the priority two is the medium deflections and the unevenness value. Okay. Then you have to calculate the road user benefits in terms of the vehicle operating cost savings, fuel parts, tires, depreciation. All these again require a lot of data. Sometimes you do not have these data. Either you just means assume this data. If you are using some kind of a software, either go with the conventional data which is already been there, or if you are having that data, then probably use this data. But sometimes, believe me, because SDM4 is having all these kind of the options, but this is very difficult to find out the correct depreciation rate. Okay, the tire data, the parts data, the fuel data, sometimes it is very difficult. Even the travel time savings, because you need to do all this, either do the survey for the travel time savings, reduction in the accidents, how you'll find, how you'll quantify the reduction in the accidents, the pavement preservation. Okay, so this is all things which is required in the road user cost benefits. Okay, but if you are having some data, it is good. Some past data, it is good. Some approximate data, it is good. If not, use the conventional data. Okay, but this is something which should be in your mind, which you should know, that this is also a part of the pavement management system. It is not that this is not a part. That's why we always call about the life cycle cost, because this is one of the major part of the life cycle cost. So this is just an example which has been given in the Kadiali book, the reduction in the vehicle operation cost due to the road surface improvement on the roads of the different bits. So this is what the road user cost is there. Like it is, the road user cost is high for an unevenness index, something like 8 meters per kilometer. And if you reduce the unevenness index, or you reduce the roughness, see the road user cost or the vehicle operating costs are decreasing. Okay, so you see every time these values are decreasing, when you decrease the value of the roughness. And that is quite predictable also, because your vehicle operating cost requires fuel, it requires tires, it requires spares, etc. So ultimately these costs will reduce. Okay. Similarly, if you'll go for the percentage saving, so these percentage saving are very significant, especially for the car, two-wheeler, auto rickshaw, which has a major share in our road traffic. Okay, as compared to especially in the urban areas. And the urban areas, even the PMS is probably the least preferred topic, which I have a little experience. I'm not sure. Maybe in some cities they are doing good with this kind of the strategies, then that is very good idea. But probably what little experience I have, the PMS, especially for the urban roads, is a very least preferred thing. So this is again some sample benefit cost analysis, that the cost of improvement is something for the vehicle operating cost savings are very high. So the cost of improvement is very less. So total benefits, you'll see it is something of this value. Okay. Again, I'm not very interested in the values, not interested in the examples also, but the interest is the idea behind this thing, that the cost analysis includes your vehicle operating cost also. Okay, and that has a major impact which is not directly being reflected. Okay, there was a major study like R6 research scheme 6 earlier times, which again the Kadiali sir and then a group of the CRI people, they did a big road user cost study. And after that road user cost study, we do not have any kind of a study in our country after that. Okay, so that could come out these with these data somewhere. Okay. Now, this is how the concept of the preventive maintenance has been explained in various books also, and this is very famous graphs, that this is how the condition normally deteriorate with the age. So if you'll do some kind of a preventive maintenance here, you will be spending something like X rupees here for the preventive maintenance. If you will delay your kind of the maintenance scheme, then probably you have to spend like 4 to 5 times, or some extensive treatments like maybe some 10x times. Okay, so this is how, and you'll see that this is not a significant time. It is almost like some small time, and then there is a small, there is a uh, uh, sudden decrement in the conditions of the pavements. Okay, and this becomes very important. This graph becomes very important for our flexible pavements majorly, and even for the rigid pavements also. But flexible pavement, these has been researched very well. Okay. Similarly, if you improve the pavement condition from the starting with some preventive maintenance, if you keep the preventive maintenance program, you will see the conditions will not deteriorate, and the age for which your pavement has been done, or probably it will go for a more number of the years. But if you'll go for the network, for your existing program network, then probably your conditions will deteriorate, and maybe at some age it will deteriorate fast, and then the problem is then you do not have any other alternative rather than the reconstruction or the major rehabilitation. Here you can always do the preventive maintenance, but here you have to do for a major reconstruction or properly a rehabilitation. Okay, that is the problem in the maintenance issues. This is again one beautiful graph again given in the Shaheen book. Mm, it's a very iconic graph, okay, in which we can understand the pavement conditions, the PMS. That this is again how you can do the preventive maintenance at the stages. It will normally increase your condition. Okay, then again with the time it decreases. Then again with the time it, if you'll do again the preventive maintenance at this time, it will increases, and then again it will decrease. Then again if you'll have some kind of a maintenance, then again it will decrease, then some kind that, but finally normally it will not reach to this value. Okay, after having a preventive maintenance, if you are doing the preventive maintenance. Okay, but if you will do all this thing at the later stage of a time, there will be only slight increase, and then again there will be a sharp decrease in the reactive maintenance. Okay, so that is how the conditions deteriorate with time. And the issue is these things sometimes are not very visible. Okay, it decreases sharply. Okay, and then you don't have much time for, because ultimately when you have to go for the treatments, again we know that there is a lot of procedure in our government system. Make some file, make some budget notes, get the approvals, get the money, then go for the tender, then have the maintenance. And still in that time, if you plan everything here for the maintenance, then probably you will reach here. And then whatever the planning you have done for the preventive maintenance, because you have got only this amount of the cost and you have reached to at this cost, you cannot do that, the kind of the rehabilitation required with the kind of the sanctioned money you are having. So until unless you are having some kind of a policy from the starting itself, you can maintain your payment in a good fashion or a good way. Otherwise it will all be a waste of the asset. This is again the same thing, a graph which is being taken from some foreign literature, okay, because they have the values in terms like what is the kind of the percentage drop in the quality. Okay, if you do some kind of rehabilitation, the preventive rehabilitation, okay, so normally 40% drop is needed, or till the 40% drop you can have the preventive maintenance. After this, and this normally leads to 75% of the life, but after this there is a sudden drop is there in the quality, and then it will cost something like 4 to 5 times. And even if you do some kind of a maintenance for 4 to 5 times, investing something like 4 to 5 times, the kind of the life you can increase only is 12%. Okay, so here you have to just spend X amount of money, your life increases by 75%. If at this point you'll increase 4 or 5 times the money, your life increases only by 12%. Okay, so this is very, very important in terms of to understand, but again, this needs to be understood at the policy level. Okay, again, now talking about the network analysis. Okay, because till now we are talking more only about one road. Similarly, we have lot of roads, not lot of national highways. Now, how to consider that which road is important for us, which has a major problem, how to rank, or basically how to make a priority ranking. Okay, so that is again a very tough thing. Okay, identification and ranking of the candidate payments for the improvements. Okay, how to make that hierarchy schedule. Obviously that's a tough thing. You need some kind of a software kind of a things if you go for the engineering kind of the things, or otherwise you should have that kind of an experience. Do the network level budgeting. Okay, big level budgeting, long range budget for the forecasting also, network level pavement condition assessment, keep on doing this kind of the assessment for the whole network level, and then finally forecast for the future conditions. I'm just skipping, or basically I'm not talking much about, because I don't have any answer for this also. It totally depends upon the data, it totally depends upon the analysis. Okay, but going for a project level, it is easy, because you can assess the cause of the deterioration also. Like for a specific road, you can try to say that what is the reason for this portal, what is the reason for this rutting. And you can find out the potential solution, the practical solution for that particular road. And you can assess the benefits by the alternatives by a life cycle costing also for a single road, because for a single road the data is limited. You have all the data, you can do that thing, and ultimately selecting and designing the desired solutions. So project level thing is very easy as compared to a network level thing, but obviously the network level thing needs more emphasis. Some priority programming is required, like information on the serviceability, distress, pavement condition data, traffic and environmental data, and the cost. Deterioration models need to be worked out, but needs a lot of data. What are your present needs? What are your future needs? Some budgetary constraints are there, which is always there. Okay. Then the priority analysis, which road to be taken first. Even in the priority, sometimes comes the political intervention, sometimes comes the personal interventions. Okay, so that needs to be managed. Alternative strategies. Okay, there are various strategies. Which one you will adopt? The best one you will adopt, the more you have to invest. The least one you will adopt, the least benefit it will give, but it will have a least cost. Then the output reports. This output report is important in the terms that it becomes an example for the others. Okay, So when you come with the output report, normally the policy makers will see that report. Now, if you have just compared the initial cost, they will say, okay, my initial cost is saving in the preventive maintenance. Let us go for the preventive maintenance. If you go for a very detailed study having the life cycle cost, then probably they can also foresee the future. Okay, so that is something, the reports are very important. I personally believe the reports are very important. This is again some effect of the funding levels on the network performance. Okay, so if you go for the arterial roads, the kind of the fundings are good for the arterial roads, and the roughness normally increases with the time. Okay, similarly for the sub arterial roads, again because the traffic is more, the roughness increases more. Similarly for the other roads, normally it has been seen that the roughness is even decreased, because what is happening in the arterial roads, you are getting some funding at that time, you are doing some kind of the maintenance. But for the other roads, again, the roughness decreases because there is no kind of the funding is there. Okay. Similarly, effect of the budget levels, if you are having some more budget, okay, you can invest more, you can, more investment is there, then depending upon the kind of the investment, like more you are investing, the better you are achieving. Okay, so obviously our target is always for the 100%. If you achieve this kind of the roughness like 4, okay, but the depending upon, if you are spending only 50% of the budget, you cannot achieve 4, then your roughness will be something like at a higher value. If you achieve, if you spend more, something like 80%, then it will be something in the range of 5 or 6. If you achieve like if you spend like 100%, you can achieve like 4. So depending upon how much we can spend. Okay, so it is totally game of economy. Okay, again, the optimal budget requirement for the development, improvement, periodic routine. Okay, now this is something which has been taken from a state county from the US, probably Illinois, that this is what they are thinking about, that giving the development part is a less, improvement, periodic and routine was very high. Okay, so that is what they are thinking. If you will see our budget, then probably the development part is very high. The improvement, periodic, routine is very low. I don't have that figures, but as I know, or as I've seen in some of the reports, the development is a major focus. Maybe a need of our country, because it's a big country. We need to connect as much places as we can. So again, it is very difficult to debate on that point, but somehow it is only, the point is that roads are our assets. Okay, then the routine and the recurrent maintenance cost includes the budget. Again, budget must be sufficient, otherwise you have to re-specify the things, because if you have budgeted for some reconstruction and if you got half the money for the reconstruction, you cannot do the reconstruction. Okay, so then what you can do is the only normal rehabilitation. Okay, periodic maintenance cost, improvement cost, again I'm not going in the details. Then finding out the optimum standard, that is what I want to highlight, that optimum standards have to be selected by the road user agency. Okay, that what standard they want to maintain. If they are having more budget, they can have a good standards. If they are probably having a low budget, and if they have a more issues with the connectivity, they want to create more and more roads, then probably they have to design, they have to go for a low standards. Okay, so this is something about, and when I say standard, means the standards for the failure standard, the rutting failure, the roughness standards, all these are the standards basically. Okay, so this is what the agencies has to find out themselves. There is no any fundamental criteria for this thing. Although IRC 37 says that 20 is the rating criteria for the national highways. And even there is a lot of debate that sometimes they say that why 20 is still a very high number, reduce it to 15. But when you reduce it to 15, the ministry people say we do not have that much of amount to rehabilitate the country. We are focusing more on construction of the new roads, so we cannot reduce this 20 to 15. Okay, they want, rather than 20 for going to 22, let it be 22. It doesn't matter much. Okay, but we can then we can save more money for the new construction of the road. So there is always a kind of a optimization, always a kind of a debate is been there. Okay, so that is again depending upon you as a policymaker, if you are there, or as an engineer. Okay. Budget allocation, again something very typical thing. Okay, probably not mine expertise, but routine maintenance needs based on the road lengths under each category, recurrent maintenance needs based on the pavement surface condition, periodic maintenance needs based on the economic indicators, and improvement needs based on the economic indicators. So different kind of the budgets are there for the routine maintenance, for the recurrent maintenance, or for the periodic maintenance. Okay, again, whatever the indicators you are setting, you can allocate the budget. Okay, so it is, but it is not you who are allocating the budget. You are just producing the report. Then you are producing the report in terms into the secretary level or to the policy makers level, and then they are allocating the budget. Okay, so it is, but you can always develop the report. You can always formulate the report in such a way so that you can get some good budget for at least routine maintenance, recurrent maintenance, and the periodic maintenance. Okay. SDM4 is probably one of the softwares, majorly used softwares in the country. Even DTIMS is also one of the software which has been used. Although I am slightly have used the SDM4, so I have some idea. Okay, I'll not go with the more details of the SDM4. There's a lot of data which is required. Okay, the pavement data is required, the road user data is required, the kind of the vehicle, the characteristics of the vehicle, how much non-motorized traffic is there, the congestion effect, the crashes, the emissions, energy consumptions. Okay, they have inbuilt the SDM4 model, and there are few calibration factors which has also been developed for our Indian conditions. There is a one study by Professor S.S. Jain, and then one of his students, Sanjeev Kumar. They published a paper in the AC also. So they developed some calibration models for the SDM4 for the highway conditions in India. Okay, so there are calibration factors which is available in the SDM4 models for our conditions also. So these are basically some analytical tools for engineering and the economic assessment of the road investments and the maintenance and the transport pricing and the regulations. Okay. There are various alternatives which could be possible, like what is the thickness of the overlay, and the thickness of the overlay depending for how many years. Okay, like after every 8 years, either go for a 4 centimeter overlay, or for every 15 years, go for a 6 centimeter overlay. Okay, or do the sealing of the roads and then postpone the overlay, reconstruct the road when the IRI reaches to the value of something like 10, or do nothing. So these are the various alternatives. Okay, or grading every 180 days means find out the values after every 6 months, or upgrade the unpaved road to a paved standard. So these are the various road agency alternatives which they always deal with. They're daily dealing with all these things, that what to do, and how to do. Okay, so that everyone will be happy. But at the end, probably I don't know how much the everyone will be happy. These are the alternatives which is available in the SDM4. We can do economic evaluation, technical evaluation, institutional evaluation, financial evaluation, commercial evaluation, social evaluation, environmental evaluation. So this is the kind of the range of the SDM4 evaluation techniques are there. Okay. The road user cost model, again, it's a very big topic. Okay, it depends upon so many road factors: the road geometry, condition, the driver factor, the traffic flow factor. Depends upon the vehicle characteristics, which depends upon the speeds. Speed has an effect on the vehicle characteristics like fuel, lubricant, tires, maintenance parts, crew time, depreciation of the vehicles, depreciation of the parts, the interest, like the rate of the interest of the vehicle reduces, the passenger and the cargo time. So this is all the consumption kind of the things are there. This is how the deterioration models have to be developed. Okay, we develop the deterioration models on the basis of the deteriorations, like your roughness are there, or your rutting is there, like your skids are there. Now these factors, these are the basically your dependent variables. The independent variables becomes like your traffic loading, pavement material thickness, moisture, temperature, aging. So these all becomes your independent variable while modeling all these things. Okay, so this is how the deterioration models can be developed. Vehicle operating cost, again, it increases per vehicle kilometer when the roughness increases. So we all know that the VOC increase. Now see, the VOC rate of increase is very high when the vehicle operating, the roughness increases, and the vehicle operating cost at the initial level is very high. So for a bad road, it increases at a very high speed. But for a good quality road, it increases at a very low rate. Okay. And similarly for the car, truck, and articulated truck, you can see that the truck, if we are talking about on the highways, it's a majorly the loading is being done with the trucks. So the vehicle operating costs are very high for the trucks. Okay. Or the trailers basically. This is how, depending upon the traffic, the user cost and the agency cost involvement is there. So a road which is having a low amount of a traffic, like something like 50 vehicles per day. So the user cost is close to like 40%, and the agency cost is 60%. Whereas the same traffic, it increases to 5,000 vehicles per day, the user cost becomes almost close to 90%, and the agency cost becomes 10%. And we always do the pavement management systems based on the agency cost. We do not take the user cost in the account. And that is the biggest problem. And the problem becomes more because we cannot find out the user cost also. Okay, it is difficult. Means I'll not say cannot find, but it is a very difficult study. So these are some primary features of the SDM4. I'm not going important uses of the SDM4 also. This is again the maintenance needs forecasting. Okay, so when to do, what to do. Okay, routine maintenance reconstruction when IRI is greater than 11. Routine maintenance patching when IRI is greater than 11. So it depends upon all these are the what are the different maintenance options are there, which you have to select. It again depends upon your thing. Okay. Similarly, the roughness progressions are there. At what time, if you do some interventions, so what will be the roughness values you will get, depending upon the kind of the interventions you are doing. Okay. So this is a kind of a preventive maintenance you are doing. This is kind of a rehabilitation you are doing. This is kind of an overlay you are doing, for the surface overlay, for the DBM overlay you are doing. Okay. So all these kind of the roughness progressions you can see. And finally, the optimization thing. Okay, so these are the resources needed to maintain the network. Okay, means we need lot of resources. How should the agency allocate the resources? Again, optimization problem. And what maintenance program should be implemented in case study of a budgetary constraint? Again, optimization problem. Okay, so my everything is optimization. There are many things to help us. Optimization modules are there. Again, some softwares are there. Again, SDM also do some optimizations. They also provide some optimal strategies also. So depending upon your node road network database, you can come out with the optimal strategy. It is not impossible, but the problem becomes the convincing, to convince to our policymakers. Okay, so this is how the SDM4 can be done. And this is how the last one, the applications of the PMS to understand the network extent, analyzing the current network conditions, analyzing the historical conditions, analyzing the funding options, decision making and marketing, interacting between top management and even with the politicians also. Okay. Between public legislators, top management, developing single layer and a multi-layer program for a network level management systems, treatment selection methodology, construction design and materials, application in maintenance, and even the applications in the research side also. Okay, so this is a mandate for a pavement industry. What to do, how to do, which to do, where to do. Okay, there are so many questions. Even after the whole PMS lectures, the only thing I want to convey is just the appreciation of the topic, rather than probably I don't know whether I'm giving something or not. There are few opportunities that road should be considered as asset, and more focus should be given on the asset management rather than the new road construction. More research efforts are required to work on detailed PMS with more reliable data. Again, reliable data is a big question. Data analytic techniques, predictive technologies are even nowadays, there are so many good big data techniques, soft techniques that are available. You can use in this PMS and it can bring revolutionary changes. That is my presumption. Okay, in the accuracy and the reliability of the results. We need to develop some low cost and accurate equipment. Something like Merlin is one there, then but probably falling weight deflectometer is again a costly equipment. Can we develop something a low cost of a similar nature? Database management shall be an integral part of the road agency, that they should maintain the data, and it should be available for all. Decisions regarding maintenance shall be taken on a scientific PMS basis. Okay, so this is again an opportunity. Again, the more studies like environmental studies, LCA, cost benefit analysis are required and should be supplemented with the PMS. The challenges are to convince the implementation organizations to adopt PMS techniques in decision making. Obviously, this is a big challenge. Codal provisions and incentives to promote PMS-based techniques are still more required and to be refined further. And policy initiatives. Okay, the policies again need to be initiated. So this is what a sustainable thinking we need to develop. Uh, Thank you from all my side. So this is all what I can.
Thank you, sir, for a very, I think it's a very, very wonderful and exhaustive lecture for you. I understand because, it was non-stop. You have been talking from first 1.5, which really hats off to you, sir.
Thank
And so there are, may I ask the participants if they have any questions, they can put their questions in the chat box and, maybe I'll take it one by one. So, Professor Gupta, if you allow me, can I start
please.
taking up the questions?
Please.
So the first question is by Mr. Arun. So he says that installing, replacing or repairing underground utilities is one of the most common problems faced by the payment structure. Also, when the work is done, it is patched up again, but the payment won't be able to perform like initial condition. How we can solve this? So this is his question.
Very difficult question for me to answer. This is a common problem in the urban areas. Okay. The problem is coordination between the agencies. Okay. Everything considers the part as their own baby. Like if the telephone agencies, they consider the phone lines only as their baby. They don't consider the road part. So coordination is again a big problem. Although I have seen in my cities, there was a notification from the CEO Smart City and from the DM also that roads, once if anyone is being damaging, they have to again make the same in the same condition. Okay, so whosoever is touching the roads, they have to create the thing in the same condition. Although I have seen that it is not being properly implemented, but ultimately it's a coordination problem somewhere from the DM side. I consider that this is a major problem for the urban area. So either from a district magistrate level or from the collector level. So this should be can easily be solved out, like these kind of notices and the kind of the implementation. Okay, so this needs to be done. Means whosoever is touching the road, they have to make it in the same way, or probably they will be paying some kind of a preventive maintenance kind of the money to the road agencies, and they can take up the work. This is, I think, the most simplest solution that I can have. Either there may be some good solutions. Okay, it could be a point of a discussion. Maybe I'll appreciate if someone will add also to this.
Well, I think the participant has added that like a properly constructed utility patch should be able to perform like initial condition, but he's again asking like, but how do we kind of achieve this?
Yeah, so we have seen those kind of a designs where a properly kind of a utility patches are being there to design at the initial stages of the construction of the road. But again, as I told you, the road construction agencies, then they need to invest more on designing all these things. So they say that my thing is to construct the road, my budget is limited, why I'll design the facilities for them. So again, the problem is the coordination. Like probably if the road agencies can get some small funding from the telephone agencies or from the electricity department, that please construct this thing. Or again the same policy level. Maybe from the policy level, let us all these related organizations, maybe some pipeline agents, means water services, pipeline services, gas pipelines are there nowadays. if they can contribute some money to the PWDs or some kind of a taxation policy, it could be there. It could be done. And there are so many designs. We have seen those designs that a utility patch on the both the sides under the shoulders can be there. And there are some regular inspection patches are there so that they can inspect those lines also. So that kind of a design is available. But still, I think in some of the smart cities, they are going for those kind of the designs. So this is my opinion, although I have not seen that kind of a design till now in my city.
Okay. Okay, sir. Sir, I think in the chat box, there are no such questions. If there are any questions from the other participants, they can raise their hand. We'll just wait for 30 seconds. And then if there are no questions, we may close the session then. Okay. Okay, sir. Sir, I think that there are no more questions. So if you allow us, we can close this particular session. So,
Thank you, Dr.
So, sir, so my heartfelt thanks to you, sir. First of all, of course, despite of your busy schedule, and I was knowing that you were also traveling yesterday. So, and you could still find time to grace this FDP by sharing your knowledge with all the participants across India. Once again, thank you, sir. We will wait for your similar talks and lectures in near future at IIT Jammu. And of course, sir, your constant support to the new budding IIT will always be required, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ankit, for always considering me. And thank you all the participants. I know although it was a very long lecture, I'm not sure whether I could deliver everything. But yeah, the whole thing is the appreciation of the topic I just want. Although at this stage, probably at your stage, at my stage, it is very difficult to contribute. But at least we can learn about the technique, we can learn about the data analysis. And then whenever we'll reach at such positions, probably in the future, we can again appreciate or again we can try to implement few things. This is what we can do. Okay, so this is our job rather than just blaming the fingers on the everyone. So asset management is again important part. Pavement maintenance management systems is a part. And we have to learn more. Okay, even I am also learning the same thing. So thank you everyone for your kind patient hearing, and thank you, Dr. Ankit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So this is for the participants now. We have uploaded all the lectures on YouTube. Let me show you how the lectures have been uploaded for your comfort. Maybe I'll just tell the host to host, you have already shared the link. Yeah, I think he has already shared the link. Let me copy the link and share my screen with all of you. Just give me a second for this. All right. So basically, what you see on my screen is a page, a channel of Transportation Engineering Group, IIT Jammu. Okay. And once you click on this playlist, okay, there is a playlist created by the name of Atal FDP 2021. All right. Once you click on this playlist, okay, there will be multiple lectures that appear on this screen. Okay. On the right hand side, you see it started from the day 1, lecture 1, day 2, lecture 2, day 3, lecture 3, and day 4, lecture 4. All right. And you just have to click on the lectures, and as per the schedule, the lectures you can see here on the right hand side. So we have edited the videos so as to, it is just the lecture portion, and the question answers thing are not part of it, to make it a little systematic. These have been nicely edited and put for your comfort. Okay, so you can visit the page. It is free to open, and we will upload similar all the other lectures in the similar way for all 5 days. And these videos may also help you go through quickly, brush up through the the video lectures, and appear for the exam that will be happening on the last day. So with this, I think we can take a small quick break of 5-10 minutes and then join back again for the next lecture, which will be given by Dr. Tanuj Chopra on the topic, which is guidelines for structural evaluation and strengthening of existing flexible payment. So with this, I think we'll wait for our next esteemed speaker to join. Okay, and then it is better if we join back in just 8 to 9 minutes. Okay, thank you.